30 November 1939. Comrade Stalin's attention has turned to our neighbor, Finland. It is clear that such an action will not be acceptable by the League of Nations, nor will it be an easy victory. Your orders are to lead this attack. Advancing troops on such terrain will be slow, and you must exercise great care, as they are experienced hunters. Our intelligence suggests that heavy snow is expected. I ask you to pay close attention to your objectives for this mission. Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today I am playing Panzer Corps, a Soviet Corps actually, an expansion for Panzer Corps. And in this video, as you can guess by this little brief intro, again with my horrible attempt at a Russian accent, we are looking at the Russian invasion of Finland, which took place not long after Stalin's great purges, and I don't mean great as in a good thing, I mean it as it was a huge event. Stalin's purges of the Red Army in the 1930s, which eliminated the vast majority of the Soviet Union's officer corps that had any sort of experience. Pretty much if you were an official who had experience and you could be a potential threat to Stalin, you were taken away and killed or sent off to the gulags in Siberia. So as a result, the Russian military was in chaos. A huge percentage of their officers above the rank of captain were killed or imprisoned, and as a result you had very few commanders that had actual battlefield or real-world experience commanding units. And unlike the invasion of Poland, which went off pretty smoothly with limited resistance by the Poles against the Soviets, and likewise the invasions of the Baltic states, when the Soviets invaded Finland in 1939, there was a tremendous amount of resistance that the Finnish soldiers put up against the Russians. It's been a while since I've looked at Soviet Corps, and I apologize for the diversion into other topics. I know I've been doing a lot of naval videos. I'm half tempted to rename my channel The Naval Gamer. Not sure what's gotten into me, but I am absolutely falling in love with every game anywhere that has anything to do with the Navy. My grandfather was in the Navy in World War II, but I can't say I have any particular affiliation. One of my close friends is a Marine, but again, no real reason for me to have any particular affiliation with the Navy. But I've been listening to Castles of Steel, which is by Robert Massey, the same author who wrote the famous book Dreadnought. And Castles of Steel looks at World War I or looks at the naval war in World War I. And I'm actually listening to it on Audible. I have about an hour commute each way to work every day, and it's a 40-hour book, so I'm in the midst of that. Additionally, I'm reading Clay Blair Jr.'s first part of his two-part series on the U-boat war in World War II, which is like 900 pages. And I also just picked up Das Boot, Das Boot, the famous book that was the inspiration for the movie of the same name that ended up winning a whole bunch of awards. So right now I am buried deep in naval history. I had intended to read some history about the winter war between Finland and the Soviet Union prior to doing this video, but I'll be honest, because I've got a 2-hour commute every day, hour each way, and because work and school have been very busy, I haven't had a whole lot of time outside of school and work and commuting to read a whole lot, and I haven't even really made much progress on the books I just said that I was reading. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to do as much digging as I would like. Now I know some basics about the winter war against the Finns. Speaking of Finns, is that offensive? I kind of wondered that. Is it offensive to call someone a Finn? Because if you're calling a Japanese person a Jap, that would generally be considered offensive. So if you shorten, Finland or Finnish to Finn, is that offensive? I don't know. Random musing thought of mine. One other thing I did want to talk about in this video real quick is I actually had, I thought, a pretty good experience with a copyright or whatever violation. A couple days ago, one of my older videos, I think has like 12,000 views, It's a video on Order of Battle Pacific, which is another turn-based strategy series that I play from time to time, and I'm still in the middle and trying to get back to that as well. But because I'm so deep in all this naval junk, I just haven't gotten around to it. But one of my other videos, Order of Battle Pacific, I want to say it was the first video in the series, ended up getting a copyright flag. Basically, it was third-party content matched by a multi-channel network called Studio 71. And they were flagging the content claiming that it belonged to Extra Credits, which is a really great YouTube channel out there. If you're interested in history, they've got a lot of stuff. If you're interested in game development, they have a lot of stuff as well. But my point is, it ended up getting flagged, and I went through the rigmarole of filing a dispute through YouTube's kind of official channel, where you just kind of say, no, this isn't really a copyright violation. In fact, these people don't even own the rights to this, because they were claiming the intro scene of Order of Battle Pacific as belonging to Extra Credits, which is kind of funny because Extra Credits is just another YouTube channel. They didn't make this intro scene. You can't even make the argument that they're claiming something they created. It's not in any way theirs. But anyway, so they claimed those like 30 seconds or so. And again, I went through the process of filing a claim with YouTube saying, listen, this isn't a valid claim. They don't own the rights for this, and what I'm using anyway is fair use. But then I figured, I looked at it, and disputes can take up to 30 days, and you never really know what's going to happen with a multi-channel network. Maybe they're going to, give the claim up, but they're going to wait 28 days, and I don't really make any money off YouTube. I mean, I make enough to buy a game here or there, but I don't really make any substantial money. But I don't like the idea of someone profiting off of, even if it's only a few cents, kind of the principle of someone else profiting off of my video is a little annoying. I'd rather just take the video down, but I don't want to do that because it's the first part of a 10 plus video series. So I figure, you know what? The Extra Credit channel, they seem like pretty good guys. They run a channel that looks at a lot about game development, but also history. They've got some really interesting series looking at, Justinian. They've got like a 12-part series on Justinian. They've got a phenomenal series that looks at kind of the outbreak of World War I. It's a gaming channel, but a lot of their history stuff is more animation stuff and less focused on gaming. So I figured they seem like decent guys. I'll just shoot them a tweet. See, maybe we can get this resolved more quickly if I do that. And within 10 minutes of me giving them a tweet, and I have no idea what time zone they're in, within 10 minutes they responded and were basically like, hey, send us an email. Here's the email address. Let us know what the heck's going on, because they didn't knowingly do this. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty awesome. And I also tagged their network in it, which again is Studio 71. I'm actually with Curse, so I'm no way affiliated with Studio 71, but I tagged their network in it as well. And maybe like 10 minutes after Extra Credits responded to me on Twitter, so did their multi-channel network, and they were basically like, yeah, send us an email so we can figure this out, because we definitely didn't mean to flag anything. And I didn't actually get a chance to respond to them via email. They provided me the email. They asked me to do that. But when they responded, I actually, I kind of sent this while I was in lunch at work. And, when they responded, I was in the middle of a meeting. So, the meeting ends an hour or so later. I take a look. I start composing an email while I'm on a break. And I take a look at YouTube, and the claim's already been revoked. They already dropped the claim without even an email from me. And I guess, my point is, YouTube's content ID system gets a lot of flack, deservedly so. But it's an imperfect solution to an imperfect world. I mean, realistically, YouTube's not going to be able to review every single video. And if they go out there and they say, you know what, everyone, we're going to give you all the benefit of the doubt. We're not going to have any system in place. We're just going to trust that everyone's doing the right thing. And then, if something happens, we'll get lawyers involved. That's not really realistic either, if you think about it. It's not realistic to say we're going to need a formal DMCA claim to remove anything off YouTube, because let's be realistic. How many people repost songs or other things that are valid copyright violations? And I think even my Let's Plays, you could definitely make the argument that some of my videos are probably not fair use. I'm not really sure. I think they're fair use, and it seems, all the game developers I've talked to think they're fair use. But you could, if it was something that went to a legal court, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But the point is, it's not a perfect solution. But I guess my view is this is kind of the way that Content ID should work. So you get an automated bot out there, it flags a video, and oh my God, it's wrong. You send you send your request through YouTube, and I think that's the problem is content holders shouldn't have 30 days to respond. You shouldn't have a full month to respond because you're receiving revenue. So YouTube should do one of two things. And again, it's not really relevant for a channel my size, but what YouTube really should do is, if they're really going to take the revenue, because these third-party claims aren't technically copyright violations, they just say, okay, your video can stay and you can still get all these view counts. However, whoever owns the content gets all your money. So what YouTube should really do, and I don't think I lost out on any money in this scenario, but what YouTube should do for people who actually have big YouTube channels is they should kind of have like a bank account, maybe like an escrow, where when someone puts a claim out there, any ad revenue doesn't go to the person making the claim, doesn't go to the original content holder either. It kind of goes into a bank, just a random bank account, or just it's basically held in virtual land, and continues to accrue like it normally would. And then pending the dispute, it'll get allocated to whoever wins the dispute. If the content claim person claims it's theirs and it's valid is theirs, and it's decided that they get to keep it, then all the money that was generated while the claim was going on ends up going to the person who made the claim. If it's the other way, then the original content creator should get the money. And I think that should be, the revenue being generated should also be visible at the very least to the original content creator. Maybe not the person putting the claim out, but at least the original content creator should be able to see, like, listen, okay, I know this claim's taking a month, and I know I'm losing out on my revenue for that month. However, here's the money that I'm still earning on my video, and I just need to wait for the process to, to resolve itself. So that's one recommendation I would make. But the other thing is that my experience was phenomenal. I know Extra Credits was very apologetic on Twitter after the fact. They were, this never should have happened in the first place. It's great that you're appreciative and okay with this, but we're really sorry. We didn't mean for this to happen in the first place. And all the more power to them, because again, they handled this perfectly. But what should really happen? And again, bots are a thing. They're going to exist. There are going to be false claims that are made by computers. That's no one's fault, because there need to be mechanisms in place to protect people's content. But what should really happen is you shouldn't have 30 days, first of all. If you've got someone out there that's putting claims on people's videos, you should have to respond to that claim pretty quickly. 2 weeks I think is reasonable. You give them 14 days. I think that's more reasonable. Then you adopt the escrow thing and you say, okay, you're still making this money, but pending the dispute, here you go. But then if you're really going to be policing your content like that, and you're really going to, you're going to put a bot out there that's going to check all this content and make sure that, people aren't using your content, all the more power to you. I'm all for that. You have that right as a content creator. If I want to do that, I have that right. But if you're doing that, you should also have a mechanism set up to be proactive and quickly responding to any claim. And I've seen people out there who say, I think Angry Joe was out there at one point where he filed a claim and he ended up winning the claim, but the person he put the claim out with took the full 29 days until they actually, released the claim, and basically got 29 days of his money. So that's the kind of thing that I think is wrong. I think I think you should certainly cut the appeal time in half. But then at the very least, if you're going to be out there, and this is more best practices for a business, you're going to be running a business, you're going to be proactively policing and protecting your content, that's fine. But you should be required to respond to any email within a certain period of time. And I think also Google should make your email address available to whoever you're putting the claim against so they can contact you directly rather than having to wait that full time period. Anyway, those are my musings about the copyright system on YouTube. I didn't really get into talking about the Winter War at all, but don't worry, this video has another 25 minutes to go, so we'll jump into that. But I think what I'm going to do, I didn't intend this when I started recording this video, so I'm sorry this isn't the most well put together video, but I do want to keep that portion I just had because I think that was an interesting, I hope it was an interesting talk. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice this video in two, have the actual Winter War discussion in the next video, and then just kind of leave this video as kind of a shorty of 15, 16, 17 minutes. Long story short, Extra Credits Multi-Channel Network put a claim against one of my videos, and they were phenomenal about it. No one personally went in and did this. It was a bot. But if I could design, or if I could experience that kind of experience and say, this is the ideal solution, it was that. It was, put a claim against your video, you sent us a question, saying, is this really valid? And within 30 minutes, it was all resolved. And they were incredibly apologetic, incredibly professional. I'm really happy with my network Curse as is, but I would say if I was ever looking to switch, and I don't even know if they'd have me, but Studio 71, the way they handled that was incredibly professional and very, very upstanding, and the Extra Credit guys as well. In fact, I'm going to throw a link to the Extra Credit channel in my video description. I'm guessing most of you already are aware of them, but if you're not, you should check them out because they do some really great stuff in my opinion. Not everything's up my alley, but still, they do a lot of really great content that I enjoy. And I kind of binge watch it. I'll watch 10 episodes at once, and then I won't touch it again for a few months. But really great stuff. Their World War I intro, like the kind of the crisis to the actual outbreak of war, was phenomenal. Some of their Justinian stuff that I've seen is really good as well. So, and this actually all stemmed back from the fact that they had looked at Order of Battle Pacific as well, which is kind of cool because they're a really big channel. They've got hundreds of millions of views, I believe. So it's kind of neat that they're looking at a game like that. But at this point, I'm really just rambling, guys. I guess the end story is it seems like the Extra Credit guys in Studio 71 are really upstanding people, did a really great job resolving a situation that was created basically by a bot, and I can't talk highly enough about them and about my experience with this, and sort of those are my thoughts on maybe some ways that maybe copyright should be changed as far as Google's concerned. But until next time, guys, I appreciate you watching this video. Really wasn't a typical video for me. But in our next video, we will talk more about the Winter War. I'll do a little bit more digging about the Winter War so I can talk informatively about it. And, until then, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate all the support you've shown my channel. And this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.